There are dams built to stop rivers, dams built to generate electricity, dams built to store water. But in the Netherlands, engineers built something far more unbelievable. A gigantic barrier whose only purpose is to stop an entire country from disappearing beneath the sea, because more than a quarter of the Netherlands already lies below sea level. Some places sit nearly 7 meters lower than the ocean beside them, and without one of the most ambitious engineering systems ever created, millions of people would quite literally be living underwater. But protecting an entire nation from the sea isn't as simple as building one giant wall. Every day, the ocean keeps pushing. Storms grow stronger. Sea levels continue rising. And engineers are locked in a battle they can never truly win, only delay. To understand why, you first have to understand how this country ended up below the ocean in the first place. Thousands of years ago, the coastline of the Netherlands looked nothing like it does today. Powerful rivers carried enormous amounts of sand and sediment from Central Europe toward the North Sea. Over centuries, those sediments slowly created flat coastal plains. The land was fertile, perfect for farming, perfect for building towns. But there was one enormous problem. Most of it barely sat above sea level. Some areas were even lower. At first, people simply accepted the floods. Entire villages would disappear after powerful storms. Fields would turn into shallow lakes. Families rebuilt again and again, until eventually they decided something almost impossible. Instead of moving away from the water, they would fight it. That decision would completely reshape an entire country. They started by building small earthen dikes, nothing more than simple embankments protecting individual farms. But as villages expanded, those dikes slowly connected together. One village became 2. 2 became 10. Soon, entire regions were surrounded by protective walls. For the first time, people weren't adapting to nature. Nature was adapting to them. But the bigger these protected areas became, the more dangerous they also became. Because rainwater and river water had nowhere to go. Imagine placing a giant bowl below sea level. Every drop of rain stays trapped inside. Without constant pumping, the entire bowl eventually fills. The Netherlands had accidentally created one of the world's largest bathtubs, and keeping it dry would become one of humanity's greatest engineering challenges. For centuries, thousands of windmills became the country's secret weapon. Most people think Dutch windmills were built to grind grain. Many were, but countless others had a completely different mission. They powered enormous pumps, day after day. They slowly lifted water out of the low-lying land and discharged it over the dikes, back into rivers and the sea. Without those windmills, huge parts of the country simply wouldn't exist today. But then, everything changed. Industrialization arrived, steam engines replaced windmills, then diesel pumps, then electric pumping stations capable of moving staggering amounts of water every single second. Suddenly, the Dutch weren't just defending their land anymore, they were creating entirely new land from the sea itself. These reclaimed areas are called polders, massive sections of the country that were once underwater, now filled with farms, roads, airports, and entire cities. Standing inside, one feels completely normal, until you realize the surrounding water is actually higher than where you're standing. You're living inside a bowl, held dry only because giant pumps never stop running. If they did, water would slowly begin reclaiming everything. And then, nature reminded everyone who was really in charge. In 1953, one of the worst disasters in Dutch history struck. A powerful North Sea storm pushed enormous waves toward the coast. Combined with an unusually high tide, water levels rose far beyond what the old dikes had been designed to handle. Then, they started breaking, one after another. Entire villages vanished beneath the floodwaters. People climbed onto rooftops. Families were trapped for days. More than 1,800 people lost their lives. Hundreds of thousands of hectares disappeared underwater. It became painfully clear. The country's centuries-old defenses were no longer enough. Something dramatically bigger had to be built. The solution became known as the Delta Works. Not one dam, not one wall, but an entire network of gigantic flood barriers. Locks, storm surge gates, sluices, bridges, and reinforced dikes. One of the largest civil engineering projects ever attempted. Some barriers stretch for kilometers. Others contain steel gates so enormous, each one weighs hundreds of tons. Most of the time, they remain open, allowing ships to pass, allowing rivers to flow naturally. But whenever dangerous storms approach, the gates slowly close, transforming open waterways into solid walls capable of resisting the North Sea itself. One of the most extraordinary examples is the Maesland Barrier. Located near Rotterdam, it protects Europe's largest port. Each floating gate is about as long as the Eiffel Tower is tall. When closed, the two massive arms swing together across the entire waterway. Watching them move feels almost unreal, like two skyscrapers floating across the water. The entire system is mostly automated. Computers constantly monitor tides, river discharge, wind, and incoming storms. If water levels become too dangerous, the barrier decides for itself. It closes automatically, because waiting even a little too long could be catastrophic. But here's the astonishing part. Even all of this still isn't enough, because the threat is slowly changing. Sea levels continue rising. Storms are becoming more unpredictable. Some of the country's defenses were designed decades ago, under completely different climate conditions. Engineers now face a problem unlike anything before. How do you protect millions of people, Mads? When the ocean itself keeps getting higher, their answer isn't simply building taller walls. Instead, they've started working with nature. Some beaches are intentionally widened. Massive amounts of sand are added along the coastline. Natural dunes are strengthened. Rivers are given more space to overflow safely. Entire landscapes are redesigned, so water has somewhere to go, before it reaches the cities. It's an endless balancing act, not against one storm, not against one flood, but against an ocean that never stops trying to reclaim what was once its own. And every single day, thousands of pumps, hundreds of floodgates, and thousands of kilometers of dikes quietly continue doing their job. Most people living behind them barely think about it. They drive to work, walk through city centres, land at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, an airport built nearly 4 meters below sea level, completely unaware that just beyond those enormous barriers, the North Sea is waiting. Because the most incredible part isn't that the Netherlands built a dam to stop the ocean. It's that an entire modern nation, with millions of people, depends on an engineering system that can never be finished. It has to keep fighting, every single day, for as long as the sea keeps rising.